This podcast is rated S for spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. Don't forget to view our spoiler-free companion video on our Half Past Podcast channel on YouTube. Welcome to the Half Past Podcast. This is episode 15, the movie review of Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials. We'll also be discussing the Last Witch Hunter trailer. I'm Graham Ricks, and here with me is my friend and co-pilot Ian Jones.
It's good to be back, buddy.
I know. We've been gone for like 3 weeks. It's been a long time. I'm excited about getting into recording today.
And it's great that it's like the Maze Runner sequel to come back to, right?
That's how the original Maze Runner is how everything got started. So it's great to get back into this. I am excited.
Yeah, we posted that first episode that we did.
Yeah, that
was
we did
without equipment and
without any audio equipment, and it was like at your apartment.
Yeah,
on an iPhone.
Oh yeah.
You know, it sounds awful, but that's okay.
It does.
It's just I've been waiting to get back into this, and I can't wait. I'm excited. So let's go ahead and start with the Last Witch Hunter trailer.
All right.
I don't know if you saw the first teaser for this trailer, but it looked terrible. It was awful. Like, they didn't show anything at all, and I was just sitting there like, man, this movie does not look good at all, and I don't want to watch it. But they released the second trailer, and it actually looks like just like a fun little action movie that I am okay with going to go see. And it has an interesting bunch of actors. Like, it has Vin Diesel, Michael Caine, Elijah Wood, and Rose Leslie, the girl from Game of Thrones, who played Ygritte. You know what's funny about Rose Leslie that I learned about a while ago?
What's that?
Her first role, like before Downton Abbey, she actually plays in one of those dramatizations for Locked Up Abroad.
Oh, nice.
So her first role is actually one of those things. You know, the actors that everybody just forgets about?
Yeah.
That does those crime dramatization things. She was in there, and I remember just watching Locked Up Abroad, and she's just like in there. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm pretty sure that's Ygritte. And it is. That was how she kind of got her start. I'm curious how she went from that to Downton Abbey all the way up to Game of Thrones. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's like seeing Benedict Cumberbatch running through an episode of I Almost Got Away with It. You know?
I know, right?
It's like, wait a minute, what? Go back. Was that Benedict Cumberbatch escaping from jail?
It was really weird to see her in there, man. I was just kind of like, wow, that's weird. The only other thing I have about this movie, other than the fact that it just looks like it's going to be fun, is I will watch anything that has a flaming sword in it. So,
okay, well, there's that, right?
Yeah, and that's the reason why I own the movie Kingdom of Heaven, which is terrible. I can't stand that movie.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I own the Scorpion King, and that had a flaming sword in it too.
See?
You know, can we talk about Vin Diesel's hair?
Oh.
Because why is it every time he has hair in a movie, like, he should just never have any kind of hair?
It probably should just be a part of his contract.
Right, yeah. Like, why couldn't he have been bald back then? They had knives and stuff. Right?
It does look weird every time he has hair.
Because it looks like him clearly with a wig. It's like, it's almost as bad as that Kate Mara reshoot wig.
Oh man, for Fantastic Four, yeah. That's bad.
I mean, it's just he has a face and a certain look, and it's almost like you're just like Mr. Potatoing Head plopping stuff on.
Oh, it's so bad. got anything else on this trailer?
No, I don't. No, I think you're right though. When they do these teasers, a lot of times they don't look very good, or they don't show enough because the movie isn't finished.
Yeah.
And so I thought the second trailer made it look better. So I don't know. We'll see.
I definitely think it looks like a fun, like popcorn type movie for, just an action movie. So we'll see what happens when we go see that one. All right, so if there's nothing else on this Latch Witch Hunter trailer, let's go ahead and get into the movie review.
All right.
The surviving Gladers search for clues about the mysterious organization known as Wicked. They end up in the Scorch, a desolate landscape filled with unimaginable obstacles where they team up with the Resistance in order to take on Wicked's forces. This movie's directed by Wes Ball, who... this is pretty much his baby. He hasn't done anything else. He's doing all 3 iterations of The Maze Runner.
Yep.
And I remember in the pilot episode, you were talking about how he's basically like a visual effects guy.
Yeah, we like him because he's an animator.
Yeah, he's an animator,
director.
and I am really anxious to see what he'll do after The Maze Runner. Like, I'm pretty excited because I think he's been doing a pretty good job with the Maze Runner series so far. So I'm excited.
He only had like $60 million to do this movie, which is crazy, the amount of stuff that they were able to do.
Yeah. So he's starring Dylan O'Brien as Thomas. He was in High Road, The Internship, and of course the other Maze Runner movie.
Yep.
Hee Hong Lee as Minho, who was in 9 Lives of Chloe King and The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And he's also Minho, man. That is like my favorite character.
He is the best character in the series. Never a bad hair day.
Yep. And I remember the scene where he gets hit with a lightning bolt. And I almost walked out of the movie.
Nice. Oh, man. Okay, yeah. I knew they wouldn't kill him off that way, though.
I was like, if he dies here, I am done with this movie. I mean, I couldn't believe how much emotion came out of me for that one scene. I was like, he better not be freaking dead. He better not be dead.
After all they go through, he gets killed by a bolt of lightning.
Like a bolt of lightning.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was so ticked off instantly, and then you find out that they pick him up and they take him inside, and he just makes a funny little comment, which is great. And I was really upset for a second there.
Yeah, he still keeps a sense of humor. Like,
yep.
Is my hair still okay? Yeah, it always looks fine. No one owns any mirrors, but your hair always looks good. Yep.
Kaya Scodelario as Teresa. She was in Clash of the Titans, Wuthering Heights, and of course the other Maze Runner movie.
Was she in Clash of the Titans, huh?
Yeah, she was in Clash of the Titans. And she still looks like Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, she's the cheaper alternative, I think, to Kristen Stewart. She's going to be in the next Pirates movie, which...
Yeah, I heard about that they had casted her for that, so that's going to be interesting. I actually haven't watched any of the pirate movies since the 3rd one. I think there was one more after that I just didn't watch.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was
very skippable.
Well, the thing is they've been getting progressively worse. So the first one's actually good, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And the second one's not bad either. But,
I like the second one.
But the 3rd one is just like not good, and then I just didn't bother watching the 4th one. And so now they're going to make a 5th one, so I don't know. It would be nice to see Gore Verbinski do something else, because I think he only was gone for one of those, right?
He missed the 4th one, and then they teamed up for that crappy Lone Ranger movie.
Yes. Which is... yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Dexter Darden as Fry Pan. He was in Joyful Noise, and The Maze Runner.
Yeah, I didn't even realize he had a name in the first movie.
Right? I don't think it's so weird because in the first one he's definitely there, and
right,
he shows up pretty often in the first one. In this one, he's just there the whole time. So he had like a bigger part, even though he didn't have a whole lot of speaking lines. Alexander Flores is Winston, who basically was in a ton of independent movies that he's been doing for years.
Again, another one of those characters who survives the maze the first time.
Yep.
No one ever talks to him, though, so you don't realize he's got a name.
Yeah, right? Jacob Lachlan is Eris Jones. He was in Mud, Justified, and, of course, this movie. And the entire time with Eris, he's like this creepy, mousy kid.
Oh, yeah.
I really feel like I thought it was funny at the end of the movie that they say, you know what, I still don't trust him. And they all just laugh. And I'm like, I don't trust him either. It's just like such a weird thing about that kid in this movie. He's just weird.
Right. Wasn't that before everything went sideways?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rosa Salazar is Brenda. She was in American Horror Story, Parenthood, and the Divergent series Insurgent. Next up, we have Giancarlo Esposito as Jorge. He was in Breaking Bad, a ton of Spike Lee movies, and of course, Nothing to Lose, the forgotten comedy. Huh?
Wait a minute.
He was in
who did he play in
Nothing
Nothing to Lose?
He was, you know how they had the other black and white criminals? He was the black guy.
Oh, no way.
It's him.
Oh, no way. That's him. With the dude from Scrubs?
With the dude from Scrubs.
I had no idea that's him. That is crazy.
It is him.
Oh. That's incredible.
I know, right?
I never would have guessed that's the same actor.
It is the same actor, man.
Nothing to Lose is a great comedy. Nothing
to Lose is not a lot of people watched that movie, but man, it's got a fond place in my heart for that movie. It's just so amusing. And of course, it's another one of those where Martin Lawrence plays a criminal. Like, God, throughout the entire 90s, he didn't do anything but either like a crook
or a cop.
That was it through the entire decade. It's so weird. Patricia Clarkson as Ava Page. She was in The Green Mile, Easy A, and 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, starting to show little mad scientist crazy side. Huh?
Yeah, she's starting to get there. And I remember when I saw her, the thing that's interesting about her, just in the context of the movie, is she's like always wearing white. Which is, I'm not sure, it seems like they're trying to do some sort of symbolism there, because she is the only character that ever wears like pure white like that. It's just such a weird thing. Aidan Gillen as Jansen, who of course was in Game of Thrones. He was also in Dark Knight Rises and Shanghai Nights.
Yeah, this guy is sneaky all the time. Like, yes. He is the most suspicious looking person on the planet.
He is.
Like, I kind of feel like those neighborhood watch signs, where it's like the dude in black who's got the hat and just the white eyes. Like, I feel like that's based off of him. Like, they should just replace that dude with Aidan Gillen.
I know, right? He's so suspicious.
Like, he's always up to something.
Like, yeah, no matter what, it always looks like he's up to something. He's another one of those actors where it's impossible for him to be like a leading man hero type character.
Right. Yeah.
You can't trust him just looking at him.
Yes.
All right, Joes, now that we're done with these characters, let's go ahead and get into our quirks and likes.
All right.
All right, now we're into our quirks and likes section, so let's go ahead and start with my quirks here. Now, the first quirk I have is something that we knew about from the trailer. And since we did that video, I always have to mention it now. And that's the closing door trap.
The closing door trap.
And it happens in this one, and it happened in the trailer. You saw it in the trailer, so you already knew it was going to happen. And so that always, that just bothers me, especially after doing the video.
Pretty good use of the closing door trap, though. Right?
Yeah, it was a good use of it. The other problem I have with this movie is it is very similar to the first one. I feel like as a sequel, I should probably have gotten a little bit more out of it. But it just seemed like it was the same kind of thing, and nothing's really explained. And it kind of just gets more convoluted, which is something that's bothers me about this movie. And I think this is just one of those things where it's got the second movie syndrome kind of thing in a trilogy. It's fine when it's a book, because you can usually just get the other book, and it's fine. But as a movie, having to wait another year or so is just kind of disappointing, and it definitely just feels like the middle movie.
Yeah, well, we talked about it in the first one, and this is kind of an issue with these kinds of movies. In the Maze Runner, and I think with Mad Max, which we saw earlier this year.
Yeah,
when they're just really heavy on the action.
Yeah.
And it's really just intense the whole time, that the plot a lot of times takes a backseat.
Yeah.
And we really don't find anything more about what's going on or why things are happening. So it is, I will say, it is light on the plot development.
It is. The other thing that surprised me about this movie is a huge portion of it is basically a zombie movie. Which I thought was, I get that in the first movie, you're aware of the virus, the flare.
Yeah.
And that it increases aggressive tendencies and all that, and then they basically are zombies. It's very similar to like the 28 days later type virus kind of thing. It's just, I wasn't expecting so much zombie type stuff in it.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of it in this movie, and that was kind of a weird thing for me. The other problem I have with this movie is actually that really strange scene with Marcus, who's played by Alan Tudyk. Who, one of the reasons why I'm okay with it is because I just like Alan Tudyk anyway. Like every time he shows up in something, he makes me smile. So that's okay. But the scene itself is just weird, and it kind of stops the movie, and it's just out of place. Where they drink this stuff that you have no idea what it is, but clearly it has them having hallucinations and just weird stuff going on in that scene. And I just don't know what was going on with that. It seems like there might have been, like in the book, there was probably a huge, maybe not a huge, but a larger part in the story for that scene. And they just kind of tossed it in this movie, and it just seems out of place.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, I guess, that they, when they finally do meet, they're in Zone A.
Yeah.
That there is one person thriving, and it's because he's screwing everyone else over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of seems like, between that and the zombies, is there really any coming back from any of this? Like, what? Like, there cannot be a cure for whatever that is. Like,
right?
because those are zombies on steroids.
Yeah.
On PEDs.
Which they continue when they get in that scene in the sewers or whatever. Clearly, there's even more going on, too. Like, they're becoming a part of something major. When they go in that scene, they're just like, well, what is this? I don't know. And it's just, that was weird too. The only other thing, quirk I have about this movie is I really do feel like this movie compared to the first one is kind of a step back, and I'm really neutral towards it. And I think that just has to do with the plot in general just didn't progress enough for me to really understand what's going on, and I don't think they were really trying to do that. So I'm hoping the third one just wraps everything up in a nice package, but we'll see what happens. So what are your quirks, man?
I think the first thing is that the big character they introduce is Jansen.
Yeah.
Their head of security, and the guy has no poker face whatsoever.
No,
I mean, and it's just that actor, and he always plays these characters. But the second you see his face, it's a dead giveaway.
Yeah,
that they need to get as far away from him and his people as possible.
Yeah,
but I think one of the things that I thought was kind of weird is they're using like stun bullets the whole time.
Yeah.
When, essentially Ava Page gave the order to start dissecting everyone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that he needs them alive to a certain point, but if they're just going to harvest all these kids to get all the science out of them as possible, it just seems like, well, you may as well shoot them. Just go ahead and shoot them in the back when they're running. One of the things you alluded to, that sewer scene, doesn't really get explained, but this movie has a lot of very creepy, unsettling scenes.
Yes, it does. And the first one had a couple of scenes that are creepy, but this one just goes way beyond that, which is why, it turns into a zombie movie in a lot of parts.
What I don't get is the whole let's split up thing. The second he said that, when they're in the first building, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is like the creepiest place ever. Yeah. And then it just gets worse. Once they know things are out there who can chase them.
Every single time somebody says let's split up, it's not good.
I know. Yeah. But especially like in the sewers too. It's like, oh no. Like, we would be walking, seriously, you and I, if we were in a zombie apocalypse, for one thing, I wouldn't last that long anyway, because what's the point? But we would be walking back to back everywhere we would go. Right? There wouldn't be any, there's a fork in the road in the sewer. Let's go. Let's split up.
Oh, man. That definitely would not happen. There's no way in hell.
This hope for a cure after seeing what it does, and that all these things are just clawing their eyes out, and they're way gone. There is no cure for this. I'm sorry, but I mean, like I thought things in The Walking Dead were bad. Yeah, this is something else entirely different. Those things move slow. These things are agile, and they're like relentless as hell. Forget it.
It's pretty bad, and like the only hope now has to be like some sort of vaccine. You can't. There's no cure.
there is no like I don't. And obviously Ava Page, the one little thing I think they did was you get a glimpse of the fact that she is off the reservation.
Yeah, she's lost it.
She's clearly become consumed with the idea that there's going to be this cure for this, and there is clearly no coming back from this, especially after you see that dude's torso. It's like,
I know, right?
It's like, well, time to start over.
Yep.
Just like, and it seems like someone dropped a bomb on that city too.
I know, right? What happened with that city?
That city is awesome. Like, wouldn't that be great to run around with in a video game? Not if those things are chasing you, but
it would be tons of fun in a video game.
I think that's it for me on quirks, buddy.
All right, so I guess we'll start with my likes then. I think a huge plus to this movie is I think the pacing is really good. And a lot of my likes are basically from the first one, too. Like, the pacing is good. I think it's filmed well. And I think the acting is solid also. And you also get characters that are even though you have these group of characters, just like they did in the first one, everyone is still kind of use, which is something that doesn't happen with a lot of these group adventure movies. And it shows up often. Even the guy that barely says anything, that fry pan guy, played by Dexter Darden, the scene where they're trying to escape all those freaking zombies and they are trying to get that door open. Like they're hitting it and they're hitting it and they're hitting it and the lock's not quite breaking. And then you just see Fry Pan just go, Wah! Just run right into it and break the door open. And it's like, well, they keep doing stuff like that in this movie to show that everybody there is of use. Like somebody will just do something out of nowhere, just like when they're trying to escape from the facility, and Min Ho just decides to just take that guy out.
Right, yeah.
It's like stuff like that will just pop up in this movie, and it happens a lot. And it's just such, it's just refreshing that they're continuing that on, because man, so many of these group adventure movies, you have all these characters and they just are kind of in the background and they focus on two and then that's it. But at least they're showing their use, and I think that's just a good aspect to this series so far, and I hope it continues on in the third one. The last like I have here is I really like Jorge as a character, especially when he takes the Jeep and rams that helicopter and he's just laughing. He's just laughing his ass off. And then you think he's going to get shot, and he just turns around and just takes this other guy out with his handgun and keeps laughing and runs away. And I'm like, that is awesome. This character is amazing. Like, I fell in love with that character in that scene towards the end of the movie. And he's just like such a cool character, man. I really enjoy seeing Giancarlo Esposito and stuff. Keep showing up and stuff, please.
Oh, nice.
What about your likes, man?
Well, the thing I was really concerned about going in to this movie just from the trailers was that, there wasn't going to be a maze this time around. Yeah. But, they traded in like the Reavers and the maze for this crazy bombed out city and these really terrifying zombies. Yep. And to me, that worked. Yeah. Because there were still elements, there were still like a maze-like quality to how they're running through some of the buildings and like getting split up and everything. Yeah. And so I thought that was a pretty cool trade-off. The other thing which you talked about is the action and pacing is just amazing in this. Yeah, and, it's a thriller for sure.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that I'm just a stickler back, we always talk about it in these podcasts, is I'm a real stickler for pacing, and it's just really good in this movie, and it was good in the previous one, and it's just another one of those things I hope that continues on into the third one. The movie doesn't really completely just die, which happens in a lot of these action movies, and I'm a sucker for thrillers anyway, so it's really good, solid pacing. I like it.
The other thing I really like too, which I'm glad they did a callback to, because you almost forget about it with everything that's going on in the movie, and that is Teresa really isn't on the same page with them, and she grabs that walkie-talkie.
Yeah, they show the scene where you don't see her grab it.
You don't see her grab it, but
you see it. It definitely pans down, and you can see that she's looking at it, and so you know that that's what happened.
But there's almost so much stuff that happens to it that, when she screws him over, which I think is a great way to end a movie.
Yeah, right.
Because they don't just get to the resistance or whatever, and like it almost seems like it's going to end up happy, and
yeah, it does.
So it's one of those things where I actually thought this was better than the first one.
Oh, really? I did not think it was better than the first one.
How about that?
Yeah, that's weird, man. I did not think it was better than the first one. I thought it was equal to the first one, but when I watch a sequel, I want it to enhance upon the first one, and I just don't think it did that. I felt like it was real similar to the first one, so that's weird.
Well, I think that they definitely didn't push the story like as far as what this is really all about. They just added a little bit of like tiny little things here and there, but there isn't like this big revelation.
Yeah.
That I think we were talking about when we saw the first one, like, oh, maybe in the sequel they're going to explain some more things.
Yeah, which is what you were expecting when you saw this movie, and they just don't do that. And I think that is the biggest thing that kills this movie for me, is that it doesn't really progress as much and explain as much as I was hoping.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm good with it just because maybe that's what this is, and maybe it's just supposed to kick your ass a bit, and I think it does that for me as far as being just a really good action thrill ride.
All right. You actually mentioned before a callback with Teresa, and just with you saying a callback, the other thing that I'm adding right now with my likes is I do like the fact that they bring up like Chuck.
Yeah.
He still has the little wooden thing that he carved out, and they call back to the maze pretty often, and I like that scene was in there because it helps link this movie with the previous one. And they do it with little scenes like that, and I really did enjoy that those scenes were in there. And even just at the end of the movie where they're just like, I wish Albie could see this kind of thing. And I like the fact that they call back to these other characters, because it shows that these, even though it's been so long for us in terms of the movie, it's still fresh in their minds. It still just happened like a day ago,
right?
A day or two ago. And so it's really nice that they added that in there. So that's just something I wanted to add on after what you said.
Good ad, buddy.
Do you have anything else for the likes, or you want to get into the ratings?
Isla's crazy zombies. I said it earlier. But Isla's crazy zombies chasing you through creepy bombed skyscrapers.
Yep.
To me that
was definitely a lot of thriller fun stuff in this movie. It was good. I like that.
It's like high-fiving the Fonz.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into our ratings then.
All right.
I think this movie, like the previous, I think it's filmed well. I think the pacing is really good. I think the acting's solid. And everyone is still of use, which is just all those things they continue on from the first one. But I don't think it really improves anything further from the first one. So I feel like it's just too similar. And so I'm going to say it is a very, very solid rental. So I say rent it. Yep.
Okay. This movie has a lot of action, and it's just I think it's one of the better movies of the year, or of the summer for sure. I say go see it.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna go ahead and sign out here then.
What's up next for us?
We actually have Hotel Transylvania 2. Is next weekend.
All right, I'm excited for that. Just edit out the part where I was like, oh.
Nice. I want everybody, if you want to contact us, see us at halfpasspodcast.com.
Like us on Facebook.
Rate us on iTunes.
We're on Stitcher and Libsyn.
And of course, you can always email us at halfpastcast@gmail.com. That's halfpastcast@gmail.com. Let us know you're out there. I know I'm getting downloads.
Right. Oh, we got the most downloads we've ever had over our break.
Yeah,
so
which is just incredible. It's so weird.
Find us on Twitter.
And thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. And of course, next week, like I said earlier, we have Hotel Transylvania 2. And I don't know about that movie. We talked about the trailer before.
Did you see the first one yet?
Okay, so here's what I was saying. I saw the trailer, and I have the movie, and I'm like halfway through it. I just happen to just fall asleep.
Okay. Well, that's a good sign.
But I have... I'm gonna say right now. That I have some issues with the first one, so I'm hoping that.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm hoping that the second one is better. Oh. So we'll see what happens. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Already sleeping through the first one. Oh, that's hilarious.
This is the Half Past Podcast. I'm Graham Ricks.
Jonesy.
See you next flick.